Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is Explanation of Battle Through the Heavens episode number 164 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yang's face revealed an expression of contemplation as he studied Gu Shan's back from the side. It was obvious that this Gu Shan was here to express goodwill. Perhaps part of the reason was because of his current strength, but this was not completely the case. After all, the former was a member of the Yang clan. Moreover, the current Yang clan was not as dilapidated as the Xiao clan. This person is not simple. Even I am unable to see through his strength. He is indeed worthy of being from one of the 8 ancient clan, appearing mysterious and unfathomable. Xun'er and the others, who had withdrawn to the side, finally came over and exclaimed after seeing Gu Shan leave. Xiao Yang nodded. If he had guessed correctly, the strength of Gu Shan should be that of a 7th star Dozun or stronger. Otherwise, he would not have been able to hide his strength from Xun'er, whose strength had reached that of a 6-star Dozun. However, if one were to really talk about being mysterious, Xiao Yang still felt that the red-clothed lady was even more unfathomable. These ancient clans were indeed extraordinary. Fortunately, from the actions of Gu Shan, the Yang clan was at least relatively friendlier. It will require half a day to travel from here to the Gu sacred mountain range of the Gu realm. We can only rest on the battleship during this time. Let's go. Xiao Yang softly laughed. After which, he led everyone to the other side of the battleship. This battleship was extremely large. However, its defenses were exceptionally tight. They came across fully armed warriors of the Black Submerged Army every few steps they took. This caused Xiao Yang to feel slightly surprised. It was likely that such a lineup would not be needed if they were merely here to receive this group. It seems that the Gu clan are worried about the people who have entered the Gu clan, but it is only expected. The energy of this Gu realm is so dense. If one stayed here to train, one would train much quicker than in the outside world. Some people with ulterior motives might secretly find a place to hide and train. Xiao Yang pondered the thought. The conduct of the Gu clan was really watertight. Following Xiao Yang's group's gradual advancement, they slowly arrived at a spot near the head of the battleship. There were much fewer people here compared to other places. However, the defenses around this area were not weak at all. Xiao Yang seemed to lack interest once he walked to the head of the battleship. He was about to turn around and leave when his eyes suddenly paused on the front of the ship. There was a long-haired man with brilliant clothes seated there. A small wooden table had been set up in front of him. 2 clear teacups had been placed on it. Xiao Yang narrowed his eyes as he stared at this back. After which, he turned around and left without saying anything. He could sense the vast and mighty aura that was vaguely spreading from this person's body. Moreover, he did not like this kind of pretense. "Friend from the Xiao clan, since you are here, please take a seat." However, Xiao Yang had just turned around when a faint laugh was transmitted into his ear, causing him to stop. Xiao Yang's expression was calm. His eyes exchanged glances with the little fairy doctors group but did not leave. Turning around, he walked toward that man and sat down opposite him. He raised his eyes and faintly inquired, "Someone from the Gu clan?" The appearance of this long-haired man was not handsome. It could even be called ordinary. However, it gave one a mysterious, convincing feeling. "Haha, I am Gu Shan." The long-haired man laughed. Xiao Yang quietly nodded. His eyes swept across those surrounding warriors of the Black Submerged Army and discovered that the eyes of these people contained a respect when they looked at this person. This respect, which originated from their hearts, was something that did not appear even when they were facing the second commander Lin Xiu. Black Submerged Army's first commander? Xiao Yang was quiet for a moment before he softly asked. The hand the long-haired man used to lift his teacup shook upon hearing these words. A circular ripple spread within the teacup as he laughed. "You are indeed worthy of being a member of the Xiao clan. Are you waiting here in order to help Ling Quan's group get back their faces?" Lin Dong asked without expression. "Ha, those few little fellows have irritable characters and poor restraint. By letting them experience what it means by there is always someone greater, they will learn to withdraw some of their haughtiness. Moreover, they would not dare to come and look for me for something like helping them get back their face." Gu Shan laughed. Xiao Yang stared at Gu Shan in front of him. This person was quite gentle. This kind of light and gentle control was something that Xiao Yang had seen for the first time among the younger generation. "Do you know why there are so many Black Submerged Army warriors guarding this battleship?" Gu Shan was unconcerned about Xiao Yang's focus as he suddenly asked a question. "You are worried about people remaining in the Gu realm, right?" Xiao Yang randomly replied. "This is only part of the reason. There are a large number of descendant citizens inside the Gu realm. They are the foundation of the Gu clan and are also the most important level within the Gu clan. Their bodies possess the Do Di bloodline. Although this amount is so thin that it is negligible, occasionally some variations form. These people will become the new blood of the Gu clan. Of course, The reason that they possess such a chance to evolve is because of the Dou Di bloodline existing within their bodies, Gu Shan softly said. However, this kind of bloodline is extremely faint. It could easily be suppressed. The method to overlay this bloodline is very easy. As long as one weds an outsider. The Gu clan values the Dou Di bloodline. Therefore, we are worried that someone from outside the clan will cause this bloodline strength to disappear. As a result, we have taken precautions against anyone remaining in the Gu realm for even a short period of time. Gu Shan's words paused when he said this. He looked at Xiao Yang and said, "This is the case for an ordinary descendant citizen, and it is also the case for the core members of the Gu clan. Within the rules of my Gu clan, there is a clear rule that one is not allowed to wed outside of the clan. You are likely aware of what I wish to convey, right?" Xiao Yang's expression remained calm. He softly said, "I know, but it is still useless against me. These few sentences of mine naturally do not hold the hope of getting you to abandon your intentions. However, you should also be aware of just how greatly the Gu clan values the Dou Di bloodline. In order to ensure that the bloodline continues on, it is very difficult for there to be anything between you and the young miss." Gu Shan slowly placed his teacup down and said, "One should know when to withdraw in a difficult situation no matter what one can do. Otherwise, it is likely that it will be good for no one. This is not a threat, but a reminder. If you really like young miss, you should not drag her down. The current Xiao clan has completely declined." Xiao Yang gently rotated the storage ring on his finger. A moment later, he suddenly laughed. "Is the Dou Di bloodline really that powerful?" Gu Shan was stunned when he heard Xiao Yang's words. He immediately smiled and replied, "Is there even a need to give a reply? These ancient clans are still strong even now. This is the best proof." Xiao Yang smiled but was non-committal. He continued asking, "What level must one reach in order to cause the Gu clan to ignore the bloodline?" "Dou Sheng." Gu Shan lifted his brow and slowly answered. "In that case, I will reach that level." Xiao Yang grinned and responded. "This is not a simple matter like opening one's mouth. Remember, I am talking about a Dou Sheng. A genuine Dou Sheng and not a ban, half, Sheng." Gu Shan frowned and said, "My Gu clan has never lacked experts at the peak of the Douzun class. However, they are unable to reach that level even after spending their entire life trying. I am aware that your talent is quite good. However, there are people within my Gu clan who are even more talented than you. Even these people are not confident that they can advance to a Dou Sheng. Just how can you be confident that you can achieve it? This is because you are members of the Gu clan while I am not. This is because you people rely on the great strength of the Dou Di bloodline while I do not." Xiao Yang smiled as he explained his confidence. "As for whether I can reach the Dou Sheng class, time will prove everything." The smile on Gu Shan's face was slowly withdrawn. His eyes stared at the confident face in front of him. A moment later, he finally sighed, "I am naturally quite satisfied if you really are confident. However, once you experience the difficulty of advancing to the Dou Sheng class, I hope that you will leave young miss because it will be bad for both of you if this continues. Thank you for the reminder. I was able to reach this point today from being a trash of the Xiao clan by relying on not giving up. I am not the least bit afraid of facing the Han clan. It is the same for the Gu clan." Gu Shan's face revealed a complicated expression when he heard that laugh beside him, "not giving up." These were 3 simple words, but there were not many who could achieve their meaning. Bang! The battleship suddenly shook while Gu Shan was sighing softly in his heart, and the surrounding spatial fluctuation slowly disappeared. The speed of the boat was also reduced. A lush green mountain range in the distance appeared within one's sight. "Have we arrived at the Gu sacred mountain range?" Xiao Yang's heart suddenly pounded as the battleship flew closer to the mountain range, which was covered by clouds and fog. His body paused for a moment before he suddenly turned his head. His eyes shot to a mountain in the distance that was covered by clouds. A misty green figure was vaguely present there. Even though they were far apart, Xiao Yang could still sense a familiarity and longing from deep within his bones. 2 pairs of eyes interlaced with each other from across a vast distance. It appeared as though they had solidified. Gu Shan slowly stood up. He looked at the female deity-like figure on the mountain top. A complicated smile appeared on his face. During these many years, the only person who could get her to personally come to this place to receive someone was likely this man in front of him. "Xiao Yang, there is a great difference in opinions toward you within the Gu clan. Everything will be fine if you can reach the Dou Sheng class. If you cannot, it is likely that you will meet with many difficulties. Therefore, I hope that you are able to achieve what you have said. Young Mrs. eyesight should be quite good." Xiao Yang quietly nodded. From his conversation with Gu Shan, he could sense the pressure Xun'er was facing within the Gu clan. "No one can stop me from being together with Xun'er, not even the Gu clan." Dark clouds rolled across the sky. The enormous battleship slowly came to a stop above this endless mountain range, attracting a countless number of gazes. Everyone on the battleship gathered at the front of the ship. They looked at the precipitous mountain range below and sensed the auras of many experts within the mountain range. Quite a number of people were speechless. This was indeed worthy of being the headquarters of the Gu clan. The number of experts had already reached a terrifying number. Cuckoo, everyone here is an important guest of the Gu clan. Please proceed. Quite a number of people politely responded after hearing that elderly voice resound across the battleship. After which, they moved their bodies and rushed down from the battleship before flying toward the cluster of buildings in the middle of the mountain range. That place was where the Gu clan would receive them. Xiao Yang stood at the front of the ship, but he did not move. His eyes were locked on a mountain in the distance. Tianhua Zunja and the rest were standing behind him. Only the little fairy doctor's eyes were locked on the distance. A complicated emotion was present in her eyes. After staring for a long while, the figure on the top of the cloud finally began walking on the clouds. Her clothes fluttered as she appeared like a fairy. She carried an ethereal feeling as she stepped over the clouds and headed over in front of the many eyes. Finally, she was suspended outside of the battleship. The eyes of everyone on the battleship were thrown over when they saw the sudden appearance of this green-clothed lady. A surprise appeared within their eyes. This lady was wearing a pale green dress. Her long black hair was randomly restrained as it spread across her narrow waist. It stretched all the way to her buttocks. Her hair would drift with the gentle wind when it blew over, appearing out of this world. Moreover, her pretty face caused this world to turn. Her alluring eyes were filled with an ethereal feeling, resulting in one having difficulty looking away. After toppling a city, her beauty would topple a country. Extremely beautiful. Such an unparalleled beauty could really bring disaster to a country and its cities. Faced with such a lady that seemed to be born from the spiritual aura of the world, a perfect man would feel ashamed in front of her. It was as though such a person could not be found in this world. A gentle smile was slowly lifted onto Xiao Yang's face as he studied her face with its soul-deep familiarity. Xiao Yang Ji. The green-clothed lady revealed a smile in front of many eyes. Her lovely figure flashed and appeared on the battleship. After which, a gentle voice sounded beside Xiao Yang's ears. The familiar form of address was just like a heavy hammer that struck ruthlessly against the softest part within Xiao Yang's heart. He felt the impulse to violently embrace this person in front of him. Little girl, you are becoming more and more beautiful. Xiao Yang forcefully endured that impulse. He softly laughed, extended his hand, and rubbed Xun'er's head in front of the stunned gazes of the warriors from the black submerged army. Gu Shan looked at the lady, who had revealed a beautiful smile. However, he merely gave a bitter smile. He was aware that this kind of smile was something that had bloomed because of this person. It seemed that only when she was in front of this person would the indifferent female goddess Xun'er truly reveal this young ladylike emotion. This little fellow has actually hooked onto this female goddess of the Gu clan. No wonder those fellows from the Gu clan treated him like that. However, this little fellow is really too great. That gentle-looking young man from the Yang clan watched this scene from a corner of the battleship. His face involuntarily filled with admiration. It will not be easy. The current Xiao clan is not the Xiao clan from back then. The red-clothed lady with a veil over her face paused her eyes on Xun'er before softly speaking. Ha ha, you should not underestimate Xiao Yang. Being able to walk to this stage, where even we must view him seriously, from a wasted bloodline clan, is not something that an ordinary person can achieve. It is not impossible for the Xiao clan to prosper because of him. Gu Shan laughed and spoke indifferently. The few people by the side involuntarily raised their eyebrows when they heard Gu Shan high praise of Xiao Yang. However, they did not say anything. Clearly, they did not really trust his words. Xiao Yang Gigi, can you accompany Xun'er for a walk? Xun'er briefly reminisced about old times with Xiao Yang before she smiled and moved. After which, she rushed toward the mountain range. Xiao Yang behind her slowly inhaled a breath. He was aware that the reason Xun'er had shown herself to him was because she wished to display her determination to some in the Gu clan. Since this girl had acted without fear, Xiao Yang would naturally not act cowardly. Since this is the case, allow me to see just how great this Gu clan is. A pride surged into Xiao Yang's heart as he glanced over the continuous mountains that seemed permeated with an ancient aura. He loudly laughed, waved his hand, and led the little fairy doctor's group from the battleship. After which, he swiftly chased Xun'er. Bang! However, Xiao Yang's sharp spiritual perception caught 10 extremely powerful eyes sweeping over his body the moment he left the battleship. All of these eyes contained an extremely powerful pressure. It was as though even the surrounding space had stilled at this moment. Xiao Yang's expression sank as he sensed the change of the surrounding space. These people from the Gu clan really did wish to ruthlessly teach him a lesson. Bang! A hot flame suddenly exploded in the sky at that moment. The frightening fire wave spread in a rumbling fashion with Xiao Yang at the middle. That frightening temperature caused quite a number of people on the battleship to reveal a shocked expression. What a powerful heavenly flame! The red-clothed lady called Huozhi revealed a strange feeling in her eyes. She stared intently at the figure within the fire wave. At the same time, the fire seal between her brows also became hotter. The flame raged and spread. The surrounding stilled space had suddenly split apart at this moment. Xiao Yang stepped with the flame and was suspended high in the sky. His eyes locked onto certain spots within the mountain range. The owners of these gazes were extremely powerful. However, it was really a ridiculous dream if they wished to rely on the pressure contained in their eyes to suppress Xiao Yang. A surprised exclamation materialized from the mountain range after they watched Xiao Yang break their solidified space in such an easy manner. How presumptuous. Elders, don't you know what etiquette is? Attacking the moment you meet a guest of the Gu clan. Are you trying to get others to think that our Gu clan is full of barbarians? Xun'er's lovely body flashed and appeared beside Xiao Yang as the fire wave surged. Her bright eyes were ice-cold as she overlooked the mountain range. Her cold and indifferent voice resonated. Young Miss, words are too serious. We have not seen a member of the Xiao clan for many years. Now that we have met one, we ended up becoming momentarily excited and wished to probe his strength. An elderly figure slowly appeared in the sky after Xun'er's words had just sounded. This person was wearing grey robes. His face was cold, stern, and old-fashioned. His eyes contained an unfriendliness as he glared at Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang stared at the grey-robed old man who had appeared. Clearly, he was one of those who had attacked him earlier. An 8-star Dozun, her. Xiao Yang's gaze swept over the grey-clothed old man. A fluctuation flashed across his eyes. He coldly laughed in his heart. It seemed that there were quite a number of people within the Gu clan who hated him. This trip to the Gu clan would not be smooth. Elder Gu Chen, today is the day that our Gu clan is receiving guests. This act of yours is a little overboard. Leave, you will not do it again. A faint voice slowly spread from deep within the mountain range before finally resounding over the sky. Understood. Gu Chen respectfully cupped his hands to the deepest part of the mountain range when he heard these words. After which, he bowed to Xun'er and glanced indifferently at Xiao Yang. Then, he turned around and rushed to the deepest parts of the mountain range. Xiao Yang, GG, are you alright? Xun'er watched Gu Chen leave before turning around to softly ask. I'm fine. Xiao Yang smiled and shook his head. Xiao Yang, GGE, do you now know why Xun'er didn't want you to come to the Gu clan earlier? Xun'er sighed. She did not expect these pedantic old fellows to not be able to control themselves. They had thought of attacking and deterring Xiao Yang the moment he had arrived at the Gu clan. Xiao Yang smiled. He was naturally aware that Xun'er did not wish for him to come to the Gu clan to be mocked. Hence, she had repeatedly asked him to raise his strength before coming to look for her. Let's go. I already understood what I would face before I came to the Gu realm. These matters cannot be left for you to bear alone. You have helped me withstand them for so many years, and it should be my turn. Xiao Yang smiled as he spoke. With his current strength, he did possess the qualification to utter these words. If that elder Gu Chen were to attack earlier, Xiao Yang would not allow him to gain the slightest advantage. Xun'er was slightly startled when she heard Xiao Yang's gentle voice. She sweetly smiled. She had indeed helped Xiao Yang delay the Gu clan for a long time. Fortunately, the current her had dragged it out until Xiao Yang had grown. The current Xiao Yang already possessed the ability to bear all of this with her. A figure was standing with his hands behind his back on top of a steep mountain. His eyes watched Xiao Yang and Xun'er in the sky. A trace of black and white hair gently drifted in front of his forehead. A pair of cold demon-like eyes were visible under his hair. This Xiao Yang has finally come. A strange laugh suddenly sounded while a silver-robed man strangely appeared from behind. Jiu Yao, looks like the relationship between Xun'er and him is quite good. Are you not intending on giving up? The silver-robed man looked at the black and white-haired man in front of him and teased him. He is not a member of the Gu clan. Hence, he cannot be together with Xun'er. I will wake him up. The other man's calm voice was without the slightest fluctuation. It was as though he was mentioning an insignificant matter. What if he insists on not leaving? The silver-robed man laughed. The man's eyes were lifted slightly as he muttered, then let him die. After that elder called Gu Chen was told to withdraw, Xun'er's bright eyes once again swept over the vast mountain range. They finally paused on a green mountain. She could sense an extremely faint but exceptionally icy killing intent. Jiu Yao, if you dare try anything funny, I will definitely not let you off. Xun'er clenched her hand as a furious expression flashed across her pretty eyes. Let's go, Xiao Yang Jidi. Xun'er slowly suppressed the fluctuation within her heart. She turned to Xiao Yang beside her, only to discover that his eyes had also locked on the spot where her eyes had paused earlier. A very strong person, Xiao Yang softly said. With his outstanding spiritual perception, he could sense an extremely faint but dangerous aura spreading from that mountain. Moreover, this aura was clearly targeting him. Ordinary means are useless if one wishes to truly remove some resistance within the Gu clan. Xiao Yang's expression was calm. Although he had defeated Ling Quan and Lin Xiu, who were the experts of the Gu clan's younger generation, in Gu Sacred City, he understood that they were far from sufficient to prove his strength. In the eyes of the old fellows from the Gu clan, defeating Lin Xiu's duo would not cause them to look at him differently. Hence, the current Xiao Yang needed to find a peak expert of the younger generation within the Gu clan. Someone who possessed a truly great reputation and make that person his opponent. Moreover, he must win such an exchange. Otherwise, those clan members within the Gu clan, who had remained neutral, might start opposing him. Therefore, he must not fail. It was obvious that Lin Xiu's group did not possess the qualification to be called such an opponent. Gu Shan possesses quite a great reputation within the Black Submerged Army. However, he had yet to reach the peak level among the younger generation within the Gu clan. Currently, there were only 4 people in the Gu clan who met such a requirement. They were the 4 generals of the Black Submerged Army. Xiao Yang was certain that the dangerous aura from earlier should be from one of the 4 generals. Let's go. Xiao Yang slowly withdrew his eyes. He smiled at Xun'er as he spoke. Aye. Xun'er slightly nodded. Her delicate body moved, and her posture was as alluring and elegant as a flying butterfly. Xiao Yang's group followed close behind her in front of the many gazes around. That man on the distant green mountain with the black and white hair over his forehead stared in the direction where Xiao Yang's group had headed. A faint cold smile was lifted on his face. Ha ha, he is indeed worthy of being from the Xiao clan. That gaze he threw over earlier, you should be aware of what it means, right? He actually wishes to challenge you. That silver-robed man laughed. Challenge, her, a cow that is just born isn't afraid of the tiger. Jiu Yarrow raised his eyes and faintly said. Tomorrow will be the adult ceremony. According to the rules, I can choose my own opponent. Seeing that he is full of such courage, I shall give him a chance tomorrow. As for Xun'er, she will understand my actions in the future. Jiu Yarrow's figure gradually became illusory after his voice slowly sounded. A moment later, he completely disappeared. Ha ha, how interesting. How many years has it been since the younger generation of the Jiu and Xiao clans have exchanged blows? I really anticipate whether this Xiao Yang can surprise us. The silver-robed man laughed. His body gradually became blurry and completely disappeared a moment later. Only low laughter continued to reverberate over the mountain. While being led by Xun'er, Xiao Yang's group did not head to the special receiving area of the Jiu clan. Instead, they stopped in front of a bamboo house in the deepest parts of the mountain range. At this moment, an elderly figure was smiling as he watched Xiao Yang's group descend in front of the bamboo house. Oldling. Xiao Yang was startled when he saw the familiar figure in front of the bamboo house. He immediately smiled and cupped his hands together. Ha ha, it has been less than 10 years. It is unexpected that young Master Xiao Yang has already reached such a stage. It really causes the old me to feel ashamed, Ling Ying sighed. When he had been under orders to secretly protect Xiao Yang back then, Xiao Yang had merely been a young and inexperienced individual who had just washed off the humiliation from having his engagement cancelled, yet that youth was now a renowned expert across the Central Plains. Let's go. Please enter first. This place is my training area. Seldom anyone can come here. I think that Xiao Yang GGE will likely not like to go anywhere else. Xun'er smiled and spoke. Xiao Yang nodded. The environment of this place was quiet. It matched what he liked. After what he had done, it was likely that he was already a hot conversation topic for the Jiu clan. Therefore, he did not wish to head to those places to be observed by others like a monkey. The group followed Xun'er and entered the bamboo house. After which, they sat down in the living room. Xiao Yang took the opportunity to introduce both parties. When Xun'er and Ling Ying heard that the delicate and pretty-looking Qing Lin possessed the triple jade-green snake flower pupils, a surprise expression flashed across their faces. They had also heard about these mysterious eyes. Young Master Xiao Yang, the time for you to come to the Jiu clan is far earlier than what the old me expected, Ling Ying sighed. Originally, he thought that Xiao Yang would require at least 20 years before coming to the Jiu clan. Astonishingly, he had arrived after about 10 years. However, with young Master Xiao Yang's strength, you do possess the qualification to come to the Jiu clan. Young Miss will be able to relax a little with you here. There are many people in the clan that suggest bringing everyone from the Xiao clan into the Jiu realm. I think that you should be aware of the intention of bringing them here. Fortunately, young Miss and some elders opposed it. Only then was the thought dispelled from those people. However, this was only a temporary peace because someone brings up such a suggestion almost every year. In order to obtain enough time for you, young Miss had entered a prolonged period of retreat. The Jiu clan greatly values their bloodline. The denser one's bloodline is, the greater the weight that person's words carry. Young Miss has continuously undertaken a retreat to bitterly train during these years in order for her words to become even more important. Only by doing this will she be able to suppress the suggestions of those within the clan who are prepared to attack the Xiao clan. The process was difficult. Fortunately, young Miss eventually succeeded. The status of the current her within the clan is such that even some elders would have to greet her when they meet. The decision to attack the Xiao clan had been suppressed by her until now. Ling Ying sighed when he spoke until this point. He said, "The old me is aware that young Master Xiao Yang must have undergone many hardships in order to reach your current level within a short decade. However, young Miss has also put in a great amount of effort." Old Ling, Xun'er softly cried out. After which, she shook her head at Ling Ying and indicated that he should not continue to speak. Ling Ying smiled when he saw her shake her head. He said, "This old fellow is like this. I cannot control my mouth." Xiao Yang faintly smiled. His dark black eyes stared at this elegant appearance that could bring disaster to countries and cities. He gently held Xun'er's hands and softly said, "It has been hard on you during these years. I shall bear all of this in the future. I will resolve the pressure from your clan." A bright redness surfaced on Xun'er's face as she sensed the warmth that was transmitted from her hand. Her heart felt a little pleased. Regardless of how strong she showed herself to be in front of her clan members, she was still a girl. Her heart possessed the softness of a girl. She appeared to be satisfied that her many years of effort could obtain these words. She did not hope for much. Although she possessed an incomparable talent and a powerful bloodline, she was incomparably persistent and even stubborn when it came to the matters of her heart. The feelings she had developed when she was young had been buried deep within her memories. They had gradually fermented with the flow of time, turning mellow and moving. Xiao Yang Gge, tomorrow will be the adult ceremony within the Gu clan. This adult ceremony usually has nothing to do with you guests who have been invited. However, due to you being a member of the Xiao clan as well as my involvement, this adult ceremony will definitely involve you. Xun'er slightly knit her brows and said, "According to the rules, any clan member who participates in the adult ceremony will be able to choose someone to spar with. Some people will likely not easily give up such a fair opportunity. Of course, with Xiao Yang Gge's current strength, there are not many people who can defeat you even within the younger generation of the Gu clan. However, there are 4 people who are likely not included. The 4 great generals." Xiao Yang softly inquired. The strength of these 4 are all at the 8th star Dozun level and above. Moreover, they are said to be existences with the highest chance of becoming the Black Submerged King. Xun'er's face was grave as she said. "Among the 4 of them, the one who will most likely target you is the one called Devil General, Gu Yao." "Devil General, Gu Yao," Xiao Yang slowly muttered. He immediately said, "The person from earlier should be him, right?" Xun'er nodded. Her heart was a little surprised. It was unexpected that Xiao Yang had sensed Gu Yao's aura. Gu Yao's talent is extraordinary. He also possesses an extremely rich Do Di bloodline. Most of the people within the clan hope that I will get together with him. Half a year ago, he has also took the initiative to mention this to the Elder Council. However, he was rejected by me. The reason is because of Xiao Yang Gge. Xun'er bitterly laughed and said, "Given his character, he will definitely target you during tomorrow's adult ceremony. He clearly understands that if he defeats you during such an occasion, those remaining neutral within the clan will lean to his side." Xiao Yang slightly nodded. The teacup in his hand suddenly formed some ripples. He similarly understood that this was a rare opportunity for him. If he lost, the members of the Gu clan would not think greatly of him. However, if Gu Yao lost, those elders within the Gu clan would likely have difficulty finding any excuse to find trouble with the matter between Xiao Yang and Xun'er in the future. Therefore, this battle with Gu Yao was the intersection between paradise and hell. Hence, he could not lose this fight. The night sky was like water that spread over the land. Cool moonlight scattered down and covered the entire mountain range with a layer of silver yarn. In the middle of the mountain range, a cluster of buildings stood one after another. They were like numerous ancient beasts standing under the moonlight, emitting traces of an ancient aura. At this moment, these halls were well lit. These few days was a festive period for the Gu clan and many places were well lit and decorated. It was filled with a joyous atmosphere. It appeared exceptionally quiet on a mountain far from these magnificent ancient halls. Without the noise, this place was just like the residence of a hermit. It was calm and quiet. A snow-white figure stood on the mountain top in an elegant manner. Her pretty eyes were staring at the well-lit halls without making any noise. No one knew just what she was thinking. "Aren't you going to rest?" A gentle voice suddenly sounded on the top of the mountain. A green-clothed figure walked out from the woods. The moonlight scattered across her elegant face, causing her to appear exceptionally enchanting. "This is the Gu realm, it is actually no different than the outside world." The white-clothed figure turned her head and looked at Xun'er, who was walking over slowly. "The pressure that one has to face here is far greater than in the outside world. The Gu clan relies on the strength of its bloodline. However, It has also become desolate because of it. This Gu sacred mountain range is the holy ground in the hearts of all the descendant citizens of the Gu realm. Every few years, countless numbers of descendant citizens will bring their descendants to this place, hoping that there will be someone with a powerful bloodline among them. Each time around, there will be some people who rejoice, but most of them end up with endless disappointment. During these years, I have seen many people who could not accept the blow of having discovered that their descendants' bloodline has been wasted. They end up committing suicide on the spot. Xun'er's pretty eyes were distant as she looked at the well-lit halls. Her soft voice contained a helplessness that seeped deep into her bones. Since it is strong, there will naturally be a price to pay. The little fairy doctor quietly nodded and softly replied. Xun'er sighed. She naturally also understood this. This was the price that the Gu clan had to pay for its great strength. Thank you very much for all these years. Xun'er clearly did not wish to get overly entangled on this topic. She turned her head and looked at the gentle pretty face next to her as she said, Are you referring to Xiao Yang? I am used to it. I feel quite good to be able to help him by his side. The little fairy doctor did not hide much in front of this girl, who was aware of her inner heart. She laughed in a free and easy manner. After which, she glanced at Xun'er and said, You should not do as you please and say random words. I like this present feeling and do not wish to change anything. However, he will continue to be obtuse if you don't say anything. Xun'er spoke with a smile. The little fairy doctor was non-committal. She glanced at Xun'er before suddenly saying, I think that you should also be aware of some things related to him, right? What are you referring to? Xun'er raised her pretty face and asked. The little fairy doctor hesitated for a moment but did not say anything. Are you referring to Medusa or perhaps Cai Lin? Xun'er lifted her head slightly. Her pretty eyes looked at the star-filled sky. An unknown feeling was present within her eyes. You are indeed aware of it. Why do you act as though you are unaware of anything in front of him? The little fairy doctor sighed. With the information-gathering ability of the Gu clan and Xun'er's current status in the Gu clan, all she needed to do was open her mouth and quite a number of people would deliver the relationship between Cai Lin and Xiao Yang to her. So what if this is the case? Don't tell me that I should become furious in front of him and get him to kill Cai Lin? Xun'er curled her small mouth. The corner of her mouth was curled into a shallow and alluring arc. It seemed that she wanted to smile but ended up softly sighing. She muttered, Actually, I have a headache over this matter. Other people only hope that I will leave him and even end up hating him over this matter. However, I am aware that this is impossible. Since this is the case, why should I make myself unhappy? Xun'er glanced at the little fairy doctor when she finished speaking. She said, I am waiting for him to take the initiative to bring up this matter. At that time, I will be able to act ruthless and punish him, allowing him to understand that a man who is fickle when it comes to the matter of the heart will not end up with a good ending. The little fairy doctor glanced at Xun'er. There was a slight anger on her face at this moment. This matter was just like a furious woman who had discovered that her husband was secretly having an affair. All right, I do not wish to discuss such a matter with someone else. Tomorrow is the adult ceremony of the Gu clan. You should also rest early. Hopefully, you will be able to continue to accompany him in the future. The trace of fury on Xun'er's face quickly disappeared as she spoke with a laugh. What about you? The little fairy doctor lifted her narrow eyebrow as she asked. Xun'er's delicate and long eyebrows twitched slightly but she did not reply. She waved her hand, turned around, and walked to the bamboo house on the middle of the mountain. The little fairy doctor's eyebrows were knit slightly as she watched Xun'er's back. However, she ceased opening her mouth to inquire. Her body flashed as she followed. The Gu sacred mountain range had become lively when the first ray of morning light scattered down from the sky. Numerous figures shot through the sky. Various gongs and drums that were filled with joy resounded across the mountain range. Creak. A tightly shut door was slowly opened. Xiao Yang, who had already changed into fresh clothes, swiftly walked out. His eyes swept around the area in front of his room, only to see that Xun'er was waiting for him here. He felt a little embarrassed. Xiao Yang Gg, have you rested enough? Xun'er smiled as she stepped forward. Her hand gently pressed against the creases on Xiao Yang's clothes. Her gentle actions were just like an obedient wife. Should the other members of the Gu clan witness this scene, it was likely that their eyes would turn completely red. During these years, Xun'er was elegant and ethereal, appearing like a goddess in front of them. They couldn't imagine just how heartbreaking the scene of their goddess helping a man arrange his clothes was. Xiao Yang smiled and nodded. He sensed the warm hand touching the front of his chest. A fluctuation appeared in his heart before he swiftly withdrew his emotions. His eyes stared into the distance at many buildings before saying, The adult ceremony is about to begin, right? Aye, let's leave. Xun'er smiled. She beckoned with her hand and a completely snow-white strong-looking single-horned beast flapped its snow-white wings and flew out of the forest. After which, it stopped in front of everyone. The lovely body of Xun'er flashed, and she appeared on the spacious back of the single-horned beast. Xiao Yang's group swiftly rushed onto it after seeing her move. After which, Xun'er gently patted the single-horned beast. It flapped its wings amid a clear cry before turning into a ray of light that swiftly rushed toward the many halls in the distance. The speed of the single-horned beast was extremely quick. Within a short couple of minutes, they had arrived where the many buildings stood. They slowly landed at the middle of the cluster of buildings under Xun'er's guidance. With Xun'er accompanying them, Xiao Yang's group was undoubtedly the most eye-catching. Hence, numerous strange gazes from around them were shot over the moment they leaped down from the single-horned beast. "Let's go." Xun'er ignored these gazes. She called out to Xiao Yang's group before taking the lead as they swiftly headed to the middle of an enormous stadium covered in an ancient aura. There were many warriors from the black submerged army wearing their black armor around the ancient stadium. Their sharp eagle-like eyes continuously swept around them. Those sharp eyes clearly paused when they saw Xiao Yang. However, they did not do anything else. Quite a number of figures had already taken their seats around the stadium. However, Xun'er's footsteps did not pause. Instead, she walked toward the seats in the middle of the square. Xiao Yang's group behind her hesitated a moment before following. Xun'er's slow footsteps had just entered this area when long spears clashed together. Two warriors in golden armor had used their long spears to block Xiao Yang's group. Xun'er's expression immediately changed when she heard this deafening sound. A fury slowly rose within her heart. "Move aside." The two warriors in golden armor were startled when they heard the ice-cold voice sounding beside their ears. They hesitated a little. "Young miss, there is no need to make things difficult for them. This area is a special place. Anyone who has not specifically been invited by the clan is not allowed to enter. Please understand." A faint laugh was slowly emitted. The calm Xiao Yang swept his eyes around and discovered an old man with his hands behind his back. This old man was similar to Gu Shan. From the golden-armored warriors in this region, Xiao Yang was aware that this place was likely a special area. He was not very interested in such an area. However, Xun'er did not think this way. Since Xiao Yang had come to the Gu clan, there was naturally a need for her to give him the best hospitality. This place was a little eye-catching, and Xun'er was also present. Hence, many eyes from immediately shot over. Finally, they gathered onto Xiao Yang. Quite a number of their eyes contained a playfulness. "Young miss, elder brother is right. Although Xiao Yang is your good friend, he has not reached the requirement." Therefore, a voice from the side was transmitted over. It was Elder Gu Shan who had attacked Xiao Yang back then. Xun'er's face was ice-cold. Her pretty eyes vaguely contained a golden flame within them. The repeated obstruction by these old fellows seemed to have truly aroused a fury within her heart. "Gu Shan, Gu Shu, did you two shameless old fellows get it right? The old me is also lazy to bother about the two of you bullying someone. However, you two have bullied my Xun'er Academy. Do you really think that the old me is a softie?" Before Xun'er was about to erupt, a furious curse erupted across the sky. Xiao Yang was somewhat familiar with this voice, causing him to be slightly startled. "Mang Tian Kai?" Gu Shan's duo was startled while Xiao Yang was feeling stunned. Their expressions immediately changed slightly as a shocked voice was emitted from their mouths. This video will end here.